Labas Vakaras, everyone. Welcome back to ESCBubble. We are here for another national final review video. They are coming thick and fast at the moment. Guys, we are on to Lithuania, one of the more eccentric national finals of the year for Eurovizija.LT. What are our thoughts?
Well, I'll happily start because, as you all know, I'm a big fan of Lithuanian pre-selections and indeed all the Baltic states. And I've been following it very closely. And I have to say that it didn't feel like we were going to get to the point of having a final that's as strong actually as I think we have ended up with. So I know many people have said that it could have benefited from being perhaps shorter than kind of sort of the five heats, and maybe just a couple of semi-finals and a final. But in a way, I'm glad that we got the exposure for that number of songs because there's such a great variety and range of different styles and different things that we've had from Lithuania, that I felt in every heat we had a really good mix. In general, I think the best songs kind of made it through, but certainly adding the wild cards, I think, has kind of sort of really helped to boost the final, to give us a really strong show to look forward to.
Maybe this is like a typical Lithuanian national selection. There's a whole bunch of variety, whole bunch of different songs, and same as always, like there's going to be like two or three songs that I'm really going to enjoy, and the rest that I don't know. I'm happy that they're there, I guess. And yeah, there's some really nice surprises for me.
I think that the show could have been lasting a bit shorter, if you ask me, just like to have three shows and then to select the finalists and then to have the final itself, because the range of the songs is interesting, but I just don't see it lasting so long as it did. But I do agree with Joe, having those two wild cards made it a bit more interesting and also a bit more crazy, if you ask me. So I'm kind of very excited for it because I do believe that the Lithuanians are going to pick an interesting entry for the Eurovision Song Contest.
I just
I
have
mean,
to add that like
oh,
I didn't really follow the semifinals, so like I don't actually know how many shows were there, how many songs, etc. So for me, this is
it was
just
it
the
was
final.
incredible. You had medieval rock. You had a guy with a welly on his head dancing in an office chair. You had a like in previous years we've had songs called things like Cold Shower. We've had a guy doing a chicken dance in Korean. You don't get this at
Boy, am
Melody
I missing
Festival,
out.
and like Lithuania knows how to do the
I
craziest
mean,
Eurovision.
we could have had Baltic Vikings in the final. We didn't. I mean, it's
Yeah,
magic of it.
yeah. They do eccentric entries, but they also do eccentric voting, and that is kind of why we've ended up with these 12 songs here. We took the scenic route, but we made it in the end. So, without any further ado, I think we should get into them, and we are going to start with Gøya with Afterstorm, and I am going to start on this one. So, interestingly, this is one of these artists that kind of comes every year with a new sort of with a new nickname, a new stage name, and kind of a new stage persona. I think the last time she competed was 2018, and like if you go and watch that song, it is completely different to the one that she's brought this year. Like and you'll see this with a lot of songs in the national finals that sort of like poke through the bunch. They meld tradition with modernity, and like Lithuania has this really nice folk music tradition. You have the sort of the hunting calls in the intro that sort of and the bridge that ground it in tradition, but then this sort of really dirty house beat brings it into the modern day. She has a gorgeous vocal. There's not a note out of place. Like, and believe me, I have checked. The performance is very minimalist. I'd say the dancing was like it was straight out of like a staging concept you get at something like Festival de Canção. She's trying to sort of fight her darker side, and it creates some really creepy stills that LRT have used as thumbnails. The only thing I'll mark this song down on is that it has like my opinion on slightly broken English. Sometimes my soul awake and then I dance, which is an earworm that I have been singing a lot on my commute, and I think we're all guilty of that. But it was second with the juries and the public, so it's solid, but probably not a winner. It's going to be an interesting one. Oh, and also kind of an update on this song. If you've been following her on Instagram, she's come down with something this week, so hope she's better for the show. But yeah, that could throw a bit of a spanner in the works, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think I agree pretty much with everything you've said there, Joe, except I would perhaps temper it a little bit with the excitement for it. Because I think everything about this is good. But for me, it just falls short of being exceptional. I just kind of want it to go a little bit further. It's got a lovely melody. Her vocals are great. If anything, I'd like it to kind of sort of build a bit more and and really come to kind of sort of like a crescendo through it. And I think the problem for Gøya is that there are similar types of songs in this final that maybe do some of those things a little bit better. There are people bringing actually I think stronger vocals than we heard in the semi-final, but also and we'll come on to Liepa later on, but that the build that has in a similar kind of genre, I think just hits a little bit harder. So I worry that this could fall short of getting the type of love that I think it deserves, because listening to it in isolation, actually this is just a really, really nice song. It's performed ever so competently and well. But I just think it just misses that spark to really kind of sort of get it over the line.
Okay, fair enough. Right, let's turn that into points. We're going to start with Ervin. What do you give this?
Well, this one just confused me, so for me, this is going to be a 4.
Okay, I'm going to double that and give it an 8. Joe?
I'm going to split the difference with a 6.
Nico?
And I'm going to wrap it up with a 5.
Consistent as ever, it's a 23 for Gøya. Right, now we move on to our second entry. It is Noi with Just Take Me on a Date. Let's start with Ervin on this one.
Well, this one is actually like quite good, but it's a little bit too simple for me. The melody of it is like quite interesting, but I just don't really like the lyrics. They just sound a little bit too desperate. And I felt that like the performance in the semi-final, like it didn't work that well, and like it felt a little bit forced. Like Noi himself, like he was quite relaxed and like he was very much into it. However, like the girl that he was on a date with, like I don't know, she was more interested in herself rather than anything else. And like I felt like he's just like desperate to have that date. And I didn't really understand the like the reference or like the metaphor, let's say, when he started singing "Take Me on a Date" to like himself in the mirror. That was a little bit odd for me, but it's still like it was decently sung, and the song is quite catchy. And after listening to this song and after listening to a couple more songs, this song was still in my head. Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit simple. It's a little bit underproduced, but it's catchy as hell. So overall, I don't know. It's all right.
Yeah, I agree completely. And I think it is underproduced, but I think that actually adds to the charm of this. And I think one of the things that I find most appealing about it, if anything, really is Noi as a performer. Certainly looked like he was enjoying himself on the stage, but the staging and just trying to kind of sort of understand what the story was that was trying to be told, because he was on the date, then she disappears, and then he's singing in the mirror almost as if he's asking himself out on a date. And I just got so confused by kind of sort of trying to understand what the story was that I almost kind of sort of lost the song. It just didn't really grab me anywhere near enough. I do think it's an improvement from, because he was in was it last year or the year before with Destiny's Child? The song, not
23. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just left ever so confused by this. It's nice enough, but I'm not sure.
I think he thought it was a bit more relatable, the idea that we've all been in that scenario where like we've escaped from surgery to go on a date to a TV studio when the lady of the night has suddenly turned into a mirror in front of a few thousand people. You know, we've all been there. Let's score this. I'm going to kick this off. This is filling a spot. It's a 4. Joe?
Yeah, I think I'd give it a 3.
Nico?
It's a 5 from me.
And Ervin?
Jesus, I like this one the best. It was catchy, so I gave it a 6.
Yeah, well, not much more than the rest of us, so it does mean that Noi
still a bit
languishes on 18 for the time being, but you know, things can change. And with that, we move on to, I think, probably the standout fan favourite, song number 3, Katarsis with Tavo Akis. Tavo!
Yeah, I mean, definitely this is the song which is making everyone crazy and so interesting, the dark vibe, and also how many times can you repeat "your eyes" by sounding so creepy and so spooky? I mean, just enjoying all the moments of it, and the performance, that kind of like the guitars and everything happening around there is magical. And even though, as I said, it's creepy from time to time, it's kind of giving me an interesting energy, and even though they're repetitive, this is the one which I don't mind having the repetitiveness, because it's kind of giving another additional value and a layer to the song, which I really enjoy, and it's super fun to listen to it. And I do believe and I hope that they will manage to win the show and go further to Eurovision.
I don't understand a word of the song, and I didn't actually look into the lyrics to even try to understand it. But regardless of that, like I was very impressed by this, and I was invested in this song like from start to finish. And there was also something about the attitude of the lead singer and his look that I don't know, just like in a way added to the mystery of this song. Also, like I feel that the instrumentation here is like done very cleverly. Like it's really great. The song builds up quite nicely, then like drops a little bit just before like the final part, and then like it still manages to shine through once again. I didn't particularly like the last part where he just repeats Tavo, Tavo, Tavo so many times. But that's literally the only remark I have because I really love this.
Honestly, it put me in mind of like one of the dirtiest rock songs I've ever heard, which is Dakota by Stereophonics, which ends with about 52 bars of "Should take a look at me now," as like all of the instruments just like crescendo to like this utter mash of it's offensive on the ears. But I'm in the minority here, and I do like that the fan base likes something so indie. So, without any further ado, let's score this. Joe, our resident Lithuania expert, what are you giving this?
Yeah, I think this would be an excellent choice. So for me, this is a strong 8.
Nico?
It's a 9 for me.
Ervin?
This is the one to beat. It's a 9 for me as well.
This, I'm going to disappoint you. It's a 5.
Still over 30.
It still gets 31, and in our books, anything over 30, you know, it's a bit of a standout. So, yeah, well done, Katarsis. Right, moving on. It is Anyanya with Running Out of Time. So, yeah, Nico, do you want to start this?
I mean, for this one, it's kind of the song which the jury would enjoy, and also you can see that by the fact that it won the semifinal, and it was the song which was standout of the night, and among the other songs, definitely well sung, well performed, something which you can expect when you have a vocalist with that powerful voice and the knowledge to sing a song. But the song itself, for me, it just didn't take me anywhere. I mean, I do understand the lyrics, of course, because it's in English and everything happening around it. It's good, but just not the song which I would be enjoying and would be like to listen it again in general.
It is kind of worth pointing out that like Anyanya kind of going into this competition was probably the artist with the most promise. Like, you know, he just won The Voice. There's the story about, you know, he grew up in Ukraine, he lived in Ukraine, he had to flee because of the war. One of the writers, Sergei Yeremenko, is Ukrainian himself. Like, the song itself, I think, is one that needs to be performed live. Like, I get nothing from it when it comes on a Spotify playlist, but like when I watch the studio version, like there is something about it that does actually quite connect with me. I think probably because he's a very competent performer and he owns the stage. Like, you know, if you add movement and color to what is honestly kind of an incomplete song, you have something akin to kind of like a British gospel hit almost, which I, you know, kind of thing I, you know, grew up with on British talent shows. And like, there are complaints from the fans that it is generic, but, you know, you can elevate stuff if you perform it well. There's no note out of place again. Clean sweep in the semi-final. I would say don't count this one out. Anyway, let's score it. Let's start with Nico.
It's a 5 for me.
Ervin?
I gave it an extra point just because of his voice, so it's a 4.
I've given it a 7, kind of split the difference between the mediocre Spotify version and the, I think, very competent live performance. Joe?
Yeah, very competent, but I'd struggle to get too excited about it. For me, it's a 5 down the middle.
Okay, that's 21 for Anyanya. Right. I think we're all a bit excited about the next one. The artist formerly known as Alan Chico is coming back, and they are now a favourite at the Lithuanian national final under the name Lion Seeker. This is Drobe. when I think of Lithuanian national finals, I imagine like that first performance of Alan Chico's Your Cure with the wheelchair guy, and also Do You, when at the end the behaired Alan Chico, looking absolutely stunning, looks down the camera and goes, "Do you, Lithuania?" Like at the end of a perfume advert or something. I love it. Anyway, so now they're called Lion Seeker. Gone is the hair, but the utter bonkers antics are still there, if far more polished this time. Again, a lot of strong voices in this final, and theirs is incredibly unique. Like, sort of singing about wanting to be someone's canvas, which, I mean, I don't really know where to start. The bridge goes paint, brush, stroke, pain, hush, hope. Like, that is how you write a song, you know. Don't give me a fire, higher, desire nonsense. That's brilliant in my book. It's an oddly structured song as well. Again, very indie. It's made to be performed. It's not the sort of thing that you just listen to, and that is worth so much at Eurovision, especially when you're as visually stunning as Alan Chico, Lion Seeker. They love starting sitting down and then ending atop like a massive staircase. You know, it's a natural progression. It's very Hitchcockian. I really like this.
Yeah, and I've always been a big fan as well. But I have to say that this, for me, is such a glow up. And when I first saw the name, and it was a name that was unfamiliar to me when the long list came out, did a little bit of research and thought, okay, it's a rebranding for Alan Chico. I just could not wait to hear what we were going to get. I just found myself mesmerized when I saw the performance. And I kind of expected that we would get something like this from them, mainly because the song was held back for so long. I think of all of the songs, the 300 songs, however many it was, over the semi-finals, this one was the very last to be released, and it was released with no video. There were a few teasers on their Instagram stories. So there was just a lot of mystery around what we were going to get. And then seeing the live performance and just everything about this, I just found so mesmerizing. There's the instrumentation, which is changing up constantly through the song. There's the incredible vocals. I think these are the best vocals that we have in Lithuania, probably, but certainly in this final. The lyrics, the movement on stage, the costuming, just everything just drew me in, and I was just staring at the screen and just trying to kind of sort of take it all in. And before you know it, 3 minutes has gone. Just absolutely mesmerizing. It's something that is a little bit different. So I do worry a little bit if it's something that voters will pick up on, both jurors and public, because it is something that's a little bit more out there. It verges a little bit towards kind of sort of the telemovies kind of sort of territory at times. Not necessarily a bad thing, because what I think Lion Seeker has is those vocals. It has just enough, I think, to kind of really draw you in. For me, this is just an absolute masterpiece. I think it's just wonderful, and I could just watch it on repeat.
Well, I think the optimism we can take is that it clean swept the semi-final. So are the public going to go for it in the final? I really hope so. But for now, let's score Lion Seeker. Started with Ervin.
I knew it.
You're
I'm
going to disagree with that, aren't you?
I'm nowhere near as impressed. For me, this is only a 6.
And it's not too bad, is that? I think we'll take a 6. I'm going to give this a 9. A strong 9 as well, as they'd say in Adele. Joe?
I can't give this any less than a 10. I really can't.
And Nico?
And this glow up definitely deserves an 8 from me.
33, guys. That's a chunky score for Lion Seeker. Right, we come to the halfway point now. Going to change the tone a little bit. This is Justė with Tired.
I think that like a lot of fans don't like this, and I think that like a lot of people here in this video are not gonna like this, but I find this very interesting. I would maybe like change the instrumentation a little bit in the chorus, as the banjo in it comes across a little bit too strong in some moments, and I feel that like if it was like a bit softer, a bit smoother, like it would add like, I don't know, like the perfect touch to the entire song. The song is like so gentle, has like a really, really nice flow, and I don't know, I just really enjoyed this journey that like this song took me on. Her voice is also like super lovely, and it's super easy to listen to. And yeah, I don't know, I doubt that this is gonna win, first of all. and like I do believe that like this would not be by any means like Lithuania's strongest song for Eurovision for this year, but nevertheless, like it's super nice, and I really really enjoy it.
I mean, for me, quite the contrary, it is the song which got me tired, and definitely the one which I didn't enjoy that much, especially because of the fact that I kind of felt that I'm listening to the worst version of Snap from Armenia. Of course, everyone knows the song. So I just wasn't driven to that world, and I cannot see the beauty of it, unfortunately, because it's just something which doesn't resonate in any given point and sense with me. She's cute. She has some skills, knows how to sing and knows how to play amazing. I mean, those are all good qualities, but not the song wise, not the ones which I am expecting from Lithuania, especially given the fact that they're the country as they are so eccentric and so crazy with some of the craziest national final selections and also performers. This one just stands there and it's gonna be alone there standing in the corner.
I will just point out as well that this song is actually written by another artist that we're going to be talking about in about 10 to 20 minutes time. I'll give you a clue. His car's getting towed. Anyway, let's score Justė. I'm going to kick off this one, and I am going to give Justė a solid 6. Joe?
Tied indeed, 2.
Nico?
3.
And Ervin?
8.
To bring the score way up to a 19 and just nipping Noi into last place. You love to see it, don't you? Sorry, Noi. Also, I do need to ask Nico, did Justė make you tired more than Future Culture wasted your time?
Oh my God, that's running neck and neck with each other. Definitely, like I cannot get over those two.
Let's not compare apples with apples.
Songs, please. No.
Yeah, let's
This
let's
was like
move on
Apple. We were comparing apple with durian. Sorry, no.
Let's talk about Amoralu with Freedom.
This I think is a really nice song, and watching the semi-final that this was in, it was in probably the strongest of all of the semi-finals. So it was in with Katarsis and Liepa, who were the two that people were talking about before the semi-final. Everyone was kind of sort of discussing those two and expecting those two to sail through to the final. And indeed they did with the televoters. But this song came through in second place, I think, overall, before the wild card situation kind of sort of changed some of that. But I was really pleased actually that this did make it into the final, because it would have been a shame for this to have been left in the semis. I think it would have got through in any of the other heats, perhaps a little bit more comfortably, because it's a very, very well sung song, fantastic voice and vocals. I really like the vibe of it as well. It's very kind of sort of dark and kind of atmospheric, kind of sort of takes you on that journey. It kind of sort of puts me in the mind of it could be, on a soundtrack to some kind of sort of dark Netflix drama, some kind of sort of Lithuanian noir, like the Baltic equivalent of a Nordic noir. And I just found it really, really interesting and just really, really well performed. So really pleased to see this in the final.
Like, as you all know, like I personally like dark pop, rock music, etc. And in theory, this should be right up my alley. However, it just feels a little bit way too empty, and it develops way too slowly for me. Like, what I really enjoyed in this song and in the performance was the power in her voice, and like her ability to change so quickly from like high, strong, and powerful to, I don't know, like very low, soft, and gentle, and vice versa as well. And I think that like if this song had like different orchestration, and instead of just like having a complete dubstep sort of bass, make it a little bit more rocky, it would be so much better. It would have so much more power, and I don't know, it would rock the stage even more. And in that case, I believe that like they wouldn't have just gone through the semi as second place. They would have won the semi regardless of who else was in it.
But one of the things I do wonder, we've not mentioned it yet, of course, that the final is in a different venue to the semi-final. So instead of being in the studio, we're now going to the Zalgiris Arena.
Big boy.
And that's where a song like this, I think, really can grow and come across a bit stronger. So when we come to the scores, I think I've gone a bit lower than perhaps I kind of want to, because I just feel that it just needs something bigger. I think you're right, Ervin.
I'm always right.
He is. I've just finished polishing your shoes, sir. Right. Let's score Amoralu. Joe, we're going to start with you.
So I'm going to go down the middle with a 5, but it's a 5+.
Nico?
Originally, I would love songs like this, but this doesn't go anywhere. It's a 4 from me.
Okay. Ervin?
6.
Honestly, I think naturally dubstep is about at least 10 or 15 years old, but like at Eurovision, it gives your number a contemporary feel. I'm also going to give this a 6. Okay, so Amoralu has 21 and is tied with Anyanya. So let's move on to, frankly, an absolute banger. I'm going to just go straight into this. City's Zerniauskas, as I have very lovingly called them. Black Biceps, they're back on the mic. They got the wild card. I mean, when I read that, I nearly jumped through the roof when I read that they'd got the wild card, because frankly, it was a travesty to see this go in the semi-final, particularly when they got all those votes from the public. Like, these guys, they have a Despacito parody about recycling bin separation called Deposito. I'm already sold. I as soon as I found that out, I was like, this is going to be my favorite entry regardless. And like, this is right up my alley. Like, I was in a New Orleans brass band when I was at uni. For my sins, it was a phase. So I love anything with like vampy brass. This had an air of madness to it, like with the instruments and the suits and the minimalist dancing with the foot. Like, and then you've got like fronted by David Platt from Corrie with like the hair and everything. There was an element of LT United as well. Like, I loved the bit where they just cut to the guy in the flat cap doing the dance that Harry Hill's brother did in LT United. Like, that was a lovely touch, calling back to what is still Lithuania's best ever entry at Eurovision. The lyrics themselves are actually, like, when you read them, they're weirdly quite dark. They're like foibles of growing up in the modern world, and it sort of melds English into the chorus very interestingly. Like, you have to listen to it a few times to actually realize that they're speaking in English. Yeah, it's lost all hope in the competition because it got the wild card, but I'm just kind of praying that Lithuania's eccentric voting reigns supreme and this at least gets into the top half in the final. Maybe into the top 3, depending on how enthusiastic the public are.
I would not say that it completely lost hope based on the fact that it arrived to the final as a wild card entry. But on the contrary, I think this will be the song which will make the audience in the arena dance, and it's so fun, so upbeat, so jumpy, and so crazy, and they're definitely delivering that kind of energy to everyone and infecting everyone listening the song. So I see Žalgiris Arena definitely being the one who will be jumping and getting crazy to the rhythm of Visaip Man Reik, and definitely a song which is there to make everyone infected with the fun and the catchiness and the chorus and their energy. I mean, Joe said it brilliantly. Like, they're having crazy energy and crazy attitude, and I do actually believe that they could be winning the televote. We will see.
It'd be music to my ears, Nico.
And yeah, we absolutely need songs like this, because the translation of it to the title would be absolutely neat. So yeah, we absolutely need more songs like this in the contest itself.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've already got Ich Komme and Kant. Let's have another one. Nico, could you please start us off with the scoring?
It's a 7 for me.
Lovely. Ervin?
I'll go one less, 6.
I am absolutely giving this a 10. I can't give it any less. Joe Sansom?
Well, I may bring it down a little bit, purely because I just think that Lithuania has had songs in this style that have just been better in the past. So Antikas Roskistantis, I always love with their kind of stuff. And just I didn't think this was quite at the same level. Agree, it's fun, but whether or not it's got the quality, I'm not so sure. So for me, it's just a 4.
This is what you're missing out on, Ervin, by the way. Just go and watch all the Lithuanian shows. It's a hoot.
Okay.
So with that,
I'll do that afterwards.
So Black Biceps have 27, which I think is a very respectable score. Now, next up is the other wildcard entry, Liepa with Armiletum.
So yeah, the other wild card that did get an awful lot of public support, but didn't quite make it through because of the way that the jury tends to take precedence in a tie break in Lithuania. So I still mourn Rutamur's entry that we lost a couple of years ago by way of that. There was no wild card there, unfortunately. But yeah, this is one that, from the moment it came out and kind of sort of dropped on YouTube in the way that they do just at random, started kind of sort of gain some momentum, and it's super melodic. The performance as well on stage has got really slick choreography. But the one thing that I think is the drawback, and maybe this is something that the jury were considering, was so many people have drawn parallels to Loreen, of course. And even with the staging and the lighting in the kind of sort of the gold and the kind of sort of sand colored staging, you can get that, and also the handography and kind of sort of things like that. So I wonder if that might be the one thing that's perhaps affecting it, if it's maybe not getting that kind of sort of sense of originality and authenticity about it. But it's a very, very competent song, performed ever so well. I think she's very well known in Lithuania, so we'll have a televote draw as a result of that. Everything about it is just really strong, but I just wonder if that's the one thing that might be holding her back.
I mean, I definitely have to agree with that because of the fact that the song, it's catchy. It's definitely something which, when you hear it once, you can never stop with the song itself, because Armiletum just sticks to your head and you cannot take it off. Definitely, the lyrics are also nice. I love the fact that it's in Lithuanian. All of the songs which are in the native language are always doing well in my book. So it's the one which has the opportunity to grasp the attention of the audience, and also to have people enjoy the music and enjoy the sound and enjoy the lyrics as well, because it's so interesting and in the native language. But as Joe said, the performance reminds us to several other, I mean, Lorraine, yes, and some other performances in the competition as well. And now it's kind of feeling that there isn't any chance to deliver something new, which we will not be comparing, but also the outfit and the way on behaving on stage and everything kind of doesn't feel like it's something which she regularly does. I mean, I haven't been following all of her previous performances and music in general, because there's many performers and I don't have time for following everyone, but I do kind of feel like this is the thing which is happening just for the show and just for the competition. And I don't see it as her, our authentic self and everything happening around it, unfortunately. But I mean, all in all, it's a song which is quite enjoyable, quite catchy, and I'm glad that it's part of the final, which will be held in Žalgiris Arena, and that she will be having a chance to perform it on a big stage, because maybe the performance will be changing in some aspects. Maybe it will be improved in some ways. We will need to see.
Joe, am I also right in saying that it has the Loreen synth pass in it, like the dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun? Yeah, I thought so. I've heard that in loads of songs this year. It must be like a really common sample you can buy. Anyway, let's score Liepa. Let's start with Ervin.
I think this is one of the rare occasions where Joe and I actually agree that something is good. I'm going to give it an 8.
Yeah, once in every blue moon. I'm agreeing as well. Possibly even more so. I'm giving this a 9. I can't get enough of this. Joe?
Okay, I now feel harsh because I've only gone for a 7.
And Nico?
And I'm going to give the lowest one. It's a 6.
No, not quite the same, but it's still 30. For a wild card, that is very impressive. So well done, Liepa. Right, on to Sophie Ali next with the bluest bell. Ervin.
Yeah, I feel like I was done a little bit dirty when we were doing this split. As
Good night.
Yeah, oh, don't you start. Where to start with this one, actually? It's a little bit way too like teenage girl type of bubblegum sort of song for my liking, and it's just too middle of the road, and for me it's extremely forgettable. Her vocals are good, but I think that like that's the only nice thing I can say about this, because like the fairy tale type outfit the entire staging, the overall performance, like it just did not work for me. This type of song and this type of performance definitely has its audience, and there's going to be a whole bunch of people loving this, and I'm glad that they will. But I'm just going to stay out of this group. This is not for me personally. Sorry.
So her Instagram bio reads, and I quote, always reading, singing, or sitting in a cafe. I mean, so am I, but you don't hear me bragging about it, you know. So I do have the feeling that this is kind of somewhere between like a Lizzie McAlpine and sort of Dodie's 8mm trip to Paris from years ago, which like I kind of vibe with like on the right day, but like not for long. You kind of have that on the surface, but there is kind of a darker element to this song as well for like such a light beat, you know, that she's sort of using this traffic metaphor to give like this to sort of give an insight into an abusive relationship, you know, like some pretty on the nose. Like, I watched you jaywalk and wished for the wheels to welcome your head. Like she's not holding back, don't let the image fool you. So yeah, it's styled in a what ostensibly is kind of a sad Disney forest, dressed in the colours of a bruise. You know, there's a lot of trauma that's gone into it, despite the fact that it sort of feels very floaty and like happy-go-lucky. And also, I think the fact that I mentioned Cold Shower earlier was because the songwriter of one of the songwriters of this song actually had a writing credit on Daniela's Cold Shower, and I just said this song kind of felt a bit like a cold shower listening to it. Only third with the juries. Her hopes in the final probably about to be a hit by a double-decker bus, but let's score it. I'm going to kick things off, and I'm going to give it a 5. Joe.
So I can't help but just think that this is the song that stole the place in the final from the country guy with the whip. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was enjoying it so much.
If he'd got to the final, I don't think this would have been broadcastable, Joe.
So yeah, purely for that, but as well as that, I agree with Ervin that it will have its fans, but I'm similarly not among them. So I'll be in the same cafe with Ervin. So for me, it's a 2.
Not the same cafe as Sophie Ali, where she's always singing and reading.
I suspect not.
Nico.
It's a 4 from me.
And Ervin.
I'm also going to give it a 4.
So Sophie Ali gets 15. Oh dear. Right, moving on to hopefully something a bit lighter. Petunia and E Saludma.
The self-confessed huge fan of Petunia. All of the entries that she's had in the selections over the years, I've loved. From Gøya, Love of My Life. She had a single out earlier in the year with the producer Giovanni, who actually is also involved in Liepa's song called Pekunas, which for me is what I've been wanting desperately for Lithuania, as it was my kind of sort of song of the year that I've just had on constant rotation. So do check it out if you like this song from Petunia. But this is just beautiful for 3 minutes. Just the beautiful vocals, the way that it's staged and it's so colourful. The Lithuanian language, I don't think has ever sounded more beautiful than it does in this song. I just think the whole way that this is put across is just wonderful. Just very, very enjoyable 3 minutes. And Petunia really never misses.
I love her vocal. I love the fact that the song is in Lithuanian and it's so sweet, which the title also implies, definitely magical one. And the performance is also enjoyable in a way that there is some mysticism around it and like done effortlessly and like, okay, we're enjoying the vocals, we're enjoying the song, we're enjoying the music, and everything is nice. The beat is also good. So, I mean, I'm up with Joe on this one. Definitely, the song is magical. She's so sweet. She's so nice. At one point, I just want to have a bit more of the song, and I kind of miss that like little teeny tiny bit. So, I mean, I just don't know like fully. I'm quite enjoying it, but like fully I expected maybe more from her because she is the one who has been returning to the show, and now I expected a bit more, but kinda she reached that point, but still I need a bit more from her.
Praise indeed, but not without its foibles. So let's score this. Let's start with Joe.
So I feel bad only giving this a 9, but it's a 9.
Yeah, it's not quite Lion Seeker then.
No, exactly.
Right.
But for me, it's in the absolute top tier of Lithuanian songs.
Nico?
So,
It's a 7 for me.
Irvin?
I just love her name, Petunia, and I like the song as well, so it's an 8.
I kind of get sort of folk massive attack from this one. I really like it. I'm giving it an 8. Not like the band, not Sophie Ali. So we only have one more song left. Lion Seeker is still in the lead, but only by 1 point. Petunia very nearly overtook him. She's on 32. Can our final act do it? And will he get out of here before his car is towed? Yes, it is the one you've all been waiting for. It is our favourite Lithuanian returning artist, singer, songwriter, general troublemaker, Gebrasy with Hole. Irvin.
I'm not sure if you were being sarcastic or not, because I genuinely do like his previous entries, like Where Do You Want to Go and Into Your Arms are songs that like I still listen to, and like I still really like a lot. So when I saw that like he was in the final, like I was really excited to listen to his song, but I was sort of like disappointed, and I was left like wanting more. As I don't know, this song just like sounds pretty weak, and like it doesn't reach the level that like I'm normally used to from Gebrasy. I do appreciate, however, that like he's coming back with something different that what he normally used to do in the Lithuanian selection. But I don't know, like I just personally struggle to find the appeal to this song, and I can't really seem to find like the hook of it or the melody of it. The beats are good, but like that's about it. I don't know. For me, this is just average, and I'm a little bit disappointed.
Well, I think some of that might have to do with the fact that I was looking this up on a friend's website, and it turns out that Gebrasy and Titas, his partner, have penned 9 entries in the past 2 years. So, like, he still has the energy to hold a mic after holding a pen for that long. But maybe something had to give at some point. I mean, for all the production value that this had, and blimey, this performance had a lot of production value. Like, the song itself actually felt like a bit of an afterthought. It's like he'd kind of thought of the staging and then sort of slapped a song on top of it, like, as if he just bought it from a songwriting campus. And the fact that he was really going for the performance meant the vocal was like not great. The structure was very simple, like the tinny bass in the chorus prioritized over the very minimal lyrics that there were. And he can't enunciate as well. There's a line where it sounds like he says, "Your blood boils from the fridge," which is like, I mean, that's a physics concept that I do not even want to get into. I honestly rank this kind of in line with one of my favorite of his songwriting exploits, Saw Your Ghost, where he managed to rhyme clothes, most, ghost, and probably toast in the same song. Only third from the public, so I think the public have kind of cottoned on to his money grabbing hijinks or whatever this is. And we had Black Biceps in the final, who absolutely crushed him in his semi-final. So watch your back, Gebrasy. But with all that in mind, let's score him. Nico, what are you giving this?
I mean, I'm also the one who is disappointed, especially because of the fact that I enjoyed very much all of his previous entries, and he's one of the artists which I discovered thanks to Lithuanian national pre-selection for Eurovision, and I'm giving this a 7.
Irvin?
It's only a 5 for me. Sorry.
I am going to give this a middling 6. And Joe?
And I'm going to agree. I think what's there on stage actually looks fantastic, but the song is perhaps a little bit lacking for me as well. So it's a 6 for me.
I've just realised as well he's basically sending up Eric Sade every minute. The performance went out of my head for ages, and I've just remembered what it was.
Yeah, I can see that.
And with that, we kind of all agreed on that one, and Gebrasy finishes with an average but not paltry 24. So if I use the sort function in the Excel that I'm currently working off, we can now see technology. We can see that our top 5 in the Lithuanian national final is very pronounced: Lion Seeker, up at the top with 33 points. Petunia just a point behind, followed by Katarsis, much to the chagrin of Ervin. And then Liepa is in fourth, along with Black Biceps in fifth. So our wild cards sort of finishing off the top five with 30 and 27 points, respectively.
I have to say, what a strong top five. I think any of those 5 songs would do Lithuania very proud. And I think it's a very strong selection that they have.
So, yeah, just pick one of those 5 and we'll all be Kushti Lithuania. You know, you heard the man.
Tavo, Tavo.
Joe speaking like a true Lithuanian.
Oh yeah, Tavo is in there. No, I'd be fine with Tavo. So we've already seen all of these performances in a tinny TV studio at LRT, but of course the final is going to be in a massive arena. So there is every chance that some of these performances are going to get a massive glow up. Who do we want to see get a glow up? Who are we excited to see? Who do we think could surprise everyone?
So if I can go first, I mean, I know I didn't rate it particularly high, but I think Black Biceps is the one that when you've got that big an audience in that big an arena, with a song that you know the public are getting behind, you can really create a moment. So it'll be interesting to see how that transforms to the bigger stage. But of course, I'm also going to say Line Seeker because amazing.
I'm not sure if they can revamp their songs as well, or whether they can just like improve or like adapt their staging to the song. But if they can actually revamp, then I'll be interested to see if Amoralu do anything to their song or they don't. Apart from them, like the act that I'm going to be most looking forward to seeing in the final is definitely Katarsis. And I'm also sort of interested to see what Noah is going to do and like whether his date is going to be exactly the same or whether like there's going to be some development. I feel like this is going to be like a telenovela or something, like part 2 now.
I mean, if you ask me, definitely, as I already said, Black Biceps will be having the audience go crazy, totally crazy. And the one which I'm most excited for is hearing and seeing all the audience singing Tavo all together with Katarsis, because I do believe that the song also being dark and crazy, it has magical energy around it, and I can't wait to see it.
It's funny that they're called Katarsis because this might be the moment that the fans who like Katarsis watching this get the catharsis of me liking Katarsis after Katarsis performed Katarsis's amazing song Tavo Akis in the final, and like it all goes a bit arms in the air, it goes a bit moshy. I love a bit of that. Yeah, I hope Black Biceps are going to get the massive glow. I think anything with a lot of bass is going to stand out here. So, like we say, yeah, anything dark like Amoralu, like Petunia, I think could really stand out here. Absolutely, yeah, and yeah, good luck to everyone. You've got this more so than others, I think, this weekend. Do you agree with what we've said, or do you disagree so much that you want to throw your computer out the window? If so, let us know in the comments, please. We accept all opinions. Also, go and watch all of our other national final reviews. We have takes like this for every national final going. We have interviews, we have polls over on our website. We've got all sorts of brilliant stuff planned in the run-up to Eurovision to keep you sated. So, thank you to everyone who took part in this video. It's always a pleasure to sit with you guys at ludicrous o'clock at night talking about the thing that we love, making it so much nicer than it already was. And thank you for watching, you lovely audience, and come back for more ESCBubble in the future. We'll see you there.